All right, thank you so much for joining us today. We are actually going to have an amazing episode. I'm super excited for it, personally, because, great. Here I am. Hello, and welcome back to Regeneration Nation. It's your host here, Regeneration, and today we're actually going to kind of incorporate everything we've been doing today into something actually purposeful. I was just doing some testing here. So that's everything here. I'm just gonna pull this aside. All right, I'm gonna pull down Visual Studio and we're gonna open up a brand new project today. The reason why is because we started off with some object encapsulation and discussed why we do object encapsulation, but we haven't really done anything super useful with it up until today. Today we're actually gonna code our own contact. And we have created the sorting algorithms in previous classes painstakingly, but yes, we did it. So we'll be able to just simply refactor our objects into the sorting algorithms, use those within our contact book. So as I go along, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll stop and I'll do it. But for now, I'll stop. We'll name this whole project. And the reason why I think it'd be better to start off as a contact book, because we can actually expand the contact book into much greater areas. Once again, we're gonna do not use top level statements. We are creating one for our application. We do not need that. So start off, contact book, hello world. It works. So we don't have a problem with our compiler. We're gonna go, and we've already started to create other files and have them integrate with the main. So we're gonna go ahead and just right-click the contact book project, add new item, C# item, C# class file. And we're going to name this contact. Because when we have a contact book, we're going to basically be filling it with all sorts of contacts. So we got to think, what kind of information are we going to want? It's complicated stuff. You don't really need to get rid of it, but I can go through it. There's just different systems included. Different libraries. We don't need our program clean. Compiler doesn't need to know about those. So if you think about what we're encapsulating with a contact book and what we're encapsulating with the contact itself, good morning. I don't advertise for anything, but it's really hard to know it. Big red cup. Could probably discuss it. Anyways, my music's still playing. Hey, it's bumping in here. So in case you haven't heard, we are making a contact book. Alright, sorry about that. Let me actually switch those sounds over. So when something doesn't work, I can at least give you one of those. Alright. What are we gonna... what do we need to encapsulate with a contact? I'd imagine we're gonna need to name these guys, right? So we're gonna go string. First, name, string last name. Cool. Thank you, compiler. Thank you. Sorry, what is it? IntelliSense? Do we want to save an email? I mean, they're giving it to us. Why not? Phone number? Sure. What else? Yeah, because that's the main thing. We want phone number. But one thing I forgot to include, and this is just something that's pretty well standardized in every kind of any kind of database, anything you'd probably want to do. Uint? Yeah, we'll want it unsigned. And we'll call it ID. Alright, that ID is just going to help us keep everything organized by the entry times, the entry days, without actually having to code a whole code like a whole calendar and write comparisons for each date. Forget about that. We'll do that another day, actually. But yeah, for right now, we're just going to look at class contact. And within that, we have an ID, first name, last name, phone, email. And then how are we going to actually embody these contacts? Because, oh wait, let's actually just make sure that this works. So this is all private. Gotta make sure we have our constructor. And like for now, I'm not gonna care as much. I'm just looking to make sure it works. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Come on. Slow down. By the way, if you need to reach me, I'm not going to put that up publicly. If you need to reach me, go to our Discord. Link should be in the description. For now, I'm just going to put email. I'm just, you know, I'm aware of some level of dangers. And phone numbers should be kept as strings because we do typically look at those with very, very strict rules. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. That was already too much for the internet. Shoot, come on. All right. So we have our contact here. And in our main, we just want to see if we can create contact me equals new contact. And we're going to quickly go public override toString, because we're going to eventually do this kind of thing anyways. Return, whoop. I haven't really talked a whole lot about string formatting, so I'm sorry about that. We're going to do that now because it's super handy. So when you do like string formatting, when you just want to insert values, actually with C#, you just put a $sign in front. And then what you can do is you can go yeah, so it'd be first name. Oh shoot, there we go. Actually, let's do last name, first name. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate the lurks. If you have any comments, questions, or you know, you just want to add something to the stream, by all means, drop in a comment. I appreciate it. And we can add the strict rules for this kind of stuff later, but like I said, we're just going to make sure that everything's kind of working at every stage as we go along, as what you should be doing in programming anyways. Phone. I think that automatically implies the toString method. Yeah, that's C# for you. Okay, cool. So we see our object encapsulation is working. All right, we have our contact. We've with the default constructor, we've created it with, well, most of my information, and we're good to start creating an actual book for them. So let's go ahead and get rid of this main. You know what? We're going to hold on to that because we're going to keep testing with it. So we're going to go ahead and open up a brand new class file because I like to work with a lot of classes personally. Good morning. Oh, I love coffee and coding. Okay. I hope we're all awake. So this is going to be our actual contact book. let's spell right. Contact book add, and we're just going to drop the internal, drop all of these, including libraries that we do not need. And with the contact book, we have to account for being able to hold a variable amount of contacts because we really don't know what we're going to be operating with, like how many we're going to be operating with, and we do want to imply methods to add contacts. Sorry, functions to add contacts, functions to remove contacts, and we're probably going to want to be able to search for contacts. So we are going to be able to write some search algorithms. We'll get into that more in the afternoon algorithms. But for now, the coffee and coding, we're going to get into creating just a simple vector. We're going to give this contact book vector contacts. Oh, we might need, yeah, we're probably going to need system collections. And this is why I just get rid of everything. Oh, well, I guess I could probably put a capital B on that. That would probably help out a little bit. Okay, so recognize some of this. Does not exist in numerics. Seriously? Oh, wrong kind of vector. Ha! That's a mathematical thing. I need system collections. I'm just going to put generic collections. Is it list? Yeah, okay. Sorry, my bad. My mistake. Okay, C#. I'm used to C++. Contacts. And then we're just going to leave that uninitialized for now because we're going to control everything through our constructors anyways. No. Do we want the list? No, we don't want the list public. I don't think we want the list public. Sorry. I'm thinking about things later on. Oh, you know what I forgot to do with the contact? Because if you think about our contacts in our phone, you don't just have a single contact. You can actually make favorites. You can ignore contacts. And you can do some things with them, set them in some levels. So what we could do is, yeah, you know what? There's lots of ways we can go around that puzzle. And we're going to incorporate as a design pattern to incorporate a state design pattern, or we could implement from the interface of contact, and everything that we handle is a contact, and we can actually have favorite that stems from contact, ignored stems from contact. For that to happen, though, we would basically have to be doing, we would have to have some conversion methods, because we have to find ways to be able to take them in and out of those, whereas with the state, we won't have to. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of as much work involved, because we're not actually we're not changing the actual type that the contact is. They would just be changing state. And states can be implied simply, or they can be implied more complex to incorporate a larger amount of things. And what we'll do for now is we'll just kind of code the classic contact. All right, because we're probably gonna end up going this direction anyways. I'll be honest. This is something that I was gonna take this channel in anyways. It's heading towards more intricate design patterns but yeah, we're gonna start off simplistic again. So we'll actually to incorporate state. Unless you guys want to go another way, I don't see any comments in the chat, so I'm just gonna go with this. Unless we get a vote later, whatever. It's fine. It really doesn't matter how we go about it, because most people won't care about your code. You care about your code. You're passionate about your code because you're the one writing it and you're the one fixing it. You're fixing it. That's the most important thing. You're the one making the updates. You're the one fixing it. You're the one that's going to want to object encapsulate it. And you're the only one giving yourself motivation for this. So do it. So yeah, with the contact book. Public contact book. contacts equals new list because it's a brand new contact, brand new uninitialized. But what I'd like to do actually, public contact book, and this is just for a small, there we go. That's just for something later on. Basically what I mentioned before is we're going to be able to incorporate everything we did, including file parsing. Keep that in mind. So yeah, we'll have that there, and we should actually have contacts. This be able to be initialized with a few contact values as well. I'm gonna get back to the ID here because this ID can actually be auto assigned. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So what I've actually done, because I'm just trying to think of problems I'm avoiding. Actually, sorry, I wasn't just thinking about this. Let's be honest. I was putting in the values string, and it came across like, hey, I don't really have a way to reinforce that this ID will always just completely increment. So what I've done is I've just made this ID itself private. And this won't really be anything the user ever sees. This is just for me and me alone, for me and my coding purposes. Um, and then what's going to happen is each time a new contact is created, it's just going to increment value. So it starts at 0. The very first contact will be contact 0, and then, sorry, will be contact 1. Because what'll happen is it starts off at 0, and then when the contact's created, oh no, let me just verify that this is going to work. Sorry about this. Really thought I was going to be avoiding a lot of troubleshooting today. That's gonna help me out. Yeah, so that didn't work. All right, so we got to find a different algorithm for that. So right now we're actually going to leave the ID out. I'll think about that. Like we'll think about that in afternoon algorithms. For now, no ID. We'll organize. We'll be able to sort by it, whatever, and however the contacts actually go in. Yeah, like I said, we'll incorporate that part afterwards. Last name, first name, and we'll just make sure that this looks like good. Okay, so now we're gonna go into public contact, string, first name, last name, pretty much everything that I was going to do. Thank you, IntelliSense. Moving forward, got a contact book, which is private, so we'll have to be able to public void add contact and pass in contact a contact. Whoops. That's fine. And then we're gonna go Contacts, add contact. Done. And then far as removing goes, we're just going to, yeah, that ID field. That ID field is going to be huge for that. So we will have to incorporate that 100%. But you'll see that as we go along, why that would be important. By the way, Elon, if you're watching, I could use a job. Just kidding. I love this one. I actually really do. Not gonna lie. But definitely wouldn't turn down an offer. Winkity wink wink. Okay, moving forward. E_Musk at freaking SpaceX dot. I'm not gonna put .ca. That would be funny. And then again, probably a 555 555 55. No, we don't share the same number. 5. We're one digit off. Okay. Let me just rename this. All right. So it looks as though our default constructor and our parameterized constructors are both working. So now we're going to go. It's not available based on its production level. Oh, it is available. Oh, what is wrong? Is this because the namespace? Is this because why are you being like that? But is used like a type, yes. Oh, that's on me. I shouldn't be naming the namespace contact book. Here, let me rename the namespace. Oh man. Okay. This is such a bad thing to get cut off on. Okay, I don't know. CB namespace. Contact book. Save. Program. Can it still not find it? This is a public class, right? Okay, so I screwed up an assembly reference. Why would that be a problem? Wow, they're both public. They're both. Excuse me, folks. Yeah, the assembly reference is still there. That's the problem. All right. Uh, okay, so I'm having a hard time composing this because of an inconsistent. Less accessible than the method. Inconsistent accessibility parameter type list contact. How is the parameter type less? As it should be. So if I remove this public, yeah, then it's fine. It's you know what? It's actually okay because it kind of leads into what I was trying to do beforehand. But I'm having a hard time understanding why I couldn't do this. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply a singleton. Um, instance. Okay, I definitely screwed up on a whole assembly reference, and that's why this stuff keeps happening. I totally messed that one up because I named the namespace in a file the same thing. How I fix it, to be completely honest, at this point I don't know, but we're gonna go ahead and open up the actual directory in File Explorer, and we're gonna look at what we can do. Cancel for a second here. Oops. Yeah, because I can't even do that. Yeah, okay, we're gonna fix this first then. Sorry about that. Save that. This will come back to. I'm gonna save it because this should be calling. And this is why we test at every step to make sure that we're not screwing anything up along the way, right? Yeah. I'm gonna close this down because I want to kind of reopen. I should have cleaned it. Actually, you know what? We're just gonna do that now. Done. Yeah. Done. Done. It's been cleaned. This is where it's gonna. Okay, well, we'll see if that's gonna fix it anyways. Just a straight cleaning. Ah. This one didn't have a hard time with that. Doesn't have a hard time with the default. Let's just go ahead and look up this error code by clicking it in the compiler. And let's just see what the error code's telling me it's saying. Because I should be able to do that. Oh. And I'm down to one viewer. Yeah, okay, of course. All right. Yep. No, that was my bad though. We're back and we're good to go. This is what programming involves, though. You have to understand that. I didn't write this stuff to begin with just to say, yeah, now you can watch me copy and paste for 6 hours. No, that's stupid. Why would I do that? I'm here to walk you through my own problems and to show you how to do it yourself. It's kind of it is a little obnoxious, but we're gonna go ahead, add me and Elon, and then we have this stuff writing up top, and I'm just gonna drop in a new line there, because I'm gonna go for each. We've done this before: contact and CV, console write line C. We do not have a public instance for getting the C. That's not a that's damn it. I mean, Okay, so I think I was caught on camera saying that that was actually not a... Oh, yep. Let's just see if that actually got me anything that we thought. Nope, that's right. Yeah, so it is. To me, it is. Yeah, it's practically useless. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Unless I was actually using it and importing files, that's when it becomes handy. You put little tags for it for XML. We're gonna go ahead and public. Oops, shoot. I see. We can go ahead and actually code even more intricate algorithms to link these contacts together, but we could, if you're interested. You just gotta mention it before we get to afternoon algorithms, and I'll go ahead and do that. But public list. So we're gonna return the list of the contact books. Get contacts. Excuse me. Return contacts. What? Well, no. Each time it's initialized. So how is this? Moving on. Just make sure our contact books are storing the contacts appropriately. Would you look at that? We got the same thing twice. Okay, so yeah, we got Gret Gavin, reachable at 555 at user at email.com. We got Musk Elon, reachable at 555 at e_musk at spacex.com, and the same thing underneath, where we just loop through the contact book. So our contact book is storing contacts. Our contact book is that's pretty much all it's doing right now. Excuse me. We're gonna start implementing more features in the contact book now. So because all it is, it's literally just storage. It doesn't do anything other than store. It doesn't even search. It doesn't even sort. So we're gonna go ahead and oh, I should have showed up. You know what? I'm so sorry. This morning I was gonna do this. Just the morning I had. I didn't have time. I was gonna create a bunch of these fake aliases on a text document and then just be like, well, let's just pull up this text document and load in this like 100 pieces of data over here. No, I can't do that. I messed up. So we're gonna go. So then that would really help with the sorting algorithms. We might have to bump into algorithm afternoon a little early so we can start looking into search algorithms. I haven't incorporated that into this yet. And that's the only issue we're at. We're at the object encapsulation part because we have the contact book encapsulated roughly. It's a list of contacts, and we could get more intricate with that if you guys want. But essentially, yeah, this works. And we have our public constructor. Oh yeah, no, I do want to imply a singleton method because if a contact book currently exists, I don't want a new one to come into play. So this is actually going to be a static method. Uh, Public static, jeez. Calls get instance. And we're gonna go static contact book CB contact. And then so when we create new contact book right here, public, we're gonna change this now. Private. Actually, I'm not gonna change this right now. I'm gonna change it afterwards because I do need to demonstrate why it's important. And then we're going to assign the static contact book to the instance that was created. And same goes for that's not going to be so tricky because basically I'll get into how I keep getting ahead of myself. This is a problem with me doing this live. Yeah, so we're just gonna worry about that later. But the basically the presumption of this is that we already have a contact book somewhere in memory, wink wink, that we've saved, and we're just porting in the contacts, we'll have load contact crap in basically to create a whole list of contacts to pass into the contact book. It'll make sense. But for now, this will work just to get our points across. So get instance. This is simple. Return CB. Or a new contact book. I can shorten it so much with this language. All I'm basically saying is return CB, and the double question mark is a null binary. So basically, if CB is null, then it's going to return this. But otherwise, just return CB. And do you remember what was happening when we were creating new contacts with the static variable? And the way I did it, because I created one contact and then created the other contact, and then I read off their information, they were both client ID. That static variable maintains its integrity throughout the life. I want to say its specific lifetime. So basically, the way that we've kind of incorporated this is public, so it's not gonna matter right now. And that's what I'm trying to that I'm gonna get across. Basically, when a new what this enforces is that if there is currently one in memory, then give it back. If not, give them a new one. So unless this is explicitly deleted, this controls what information we have access to. This controls that we will always maintain the right contact book for the person using the program. So we're gonna go ahead, stack CB. We can make these private, but I do once again want to make this make sense. So how can I incorporate this contact book, new contact book? So contact book CB2 doesn't really matter. All for testing purposes. And you'll notice, like, I'm able to do this. So I shouldn't be able to just create new ones within the same lifetime of the program. There's really no reason to demonstrate any of this. Oh, wait, because I can go. Remember where we put the static variable? Because the order of operations is really important with this. Um, just for right now, testing purposes, public static. Gamers always have a hard time with that. The cap lock. I'm no different. So because I'm making it public, I'm gonna go cb dot what's it called, instance. Shoot, what did I even name it? CP. Oh yeah. You know what? Yeah, cb.get contacts. Why wouldn't you do that? Oh, because I didn't save this yet. Yeah. There we go. So, for the first set, right here, getting the static instance of the current contact book in memory. And this is going to do the same. The big difference that I'm going to incorporate down here, because I know one of them is not going to work, but the other one will be this. I'm not using the static reference this time. I'm going to use the actual variable that I've assigned to this contact book, and I've added, the contacts too. And you'll see. Ooh, would you look at that? It didn't work. It didn't work the way I wanted it to. I break it. What did I do wrong? Okay. Well, no, because that was. I mean, it didn't break. I was expecting it to break. Oh. Equals new contact book. For each contact C. This one shouldn't go, but it does. But when I set a breakpoint, it didn't stop. What? Put a breakpoint here. Okay, it stopped that one. We're gonna just go ahead and throw this one on top using my Windows Power Toys. This really helps as well. And F10, 1, 2, and then just carries right on. Aha. And that's what I was trying to demonstrate. Sorry about that. This was a fluke. This shouldn't be here. Let me just get rid of that. I was just trying to demonstrate you could loop through it. Ugh, what happens when I leave up old code? Okay, we'll get rid of that, and then we'll run it again. Should only. Yeah, so you notice how it didn't hit that breakpoint? That's why I was so curious about that. Sorry about that. Drop that. It's going to pass right on through. And only print it out twice because I've only told it to print it out twice. Because this one searches for a contact book that's been assigned to an empty contact book. This shouldn't be able to happen. How do we restrict this from happening? Well, we restrict this from happening by controlling the constructors themselves. And you'll notice that this actually here, so get instance, to replace that, because we do have to still be able to pass in the contacts. Yeah, okay, I'm just messing around too much. Sorry about that. We're just gonna go ahead and I'm actually wondering. We might want to. That'll be a future enhancement. We might want to basically be able to bulk add contacts. So basically, add a whole new contact book similar to it right into this. But till then, so this effectively uses both constructors using a single get instance method. And we're gonna test that right here. See, I can't do this anymore. I have to actually go. And that controls. So now we should be able to see it twice. Actually, I'll just run it now. Now that breakpoint's getting hit. Just going to continue on through. Ran them both. Put the line between, like I specified, and ran it again. I'm this time calling for the one I have in memory, which is still the one that's saved as the static reference. All right. This is the idea of construction. You have to make sure that everything you're putting is in the proper location. At least with object construction, you don't have to worry so much about a lot of the exterior stuff. It'll oh, shoot, the compiler will handle a lot of that. So yeah, this is working now. The point of this is gone. So we're going to go ahead and remove this stuff. We're going to go ahead and remove this because this is no longer necessary. I'll probably drop it in the console right line. All right, so we got me and Elon chilling in a contact book. We are only establishing the single contact book. And now let's just make sure that our other alternate constructor is working. Because we have... I want to create a list of contacts. So instead of doing it like this, what we'll do is we'll get the instance, okay? And then we'll run this to show you that it's not, has nothing in it. X. I'm cutting that. I'm gonna paste it right soon. And then is it vector? No, it's list. That's right. Can I just implicitly add? Nope. But it got what I was getting to. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure if I put that space in between the thank you IntelliSense, I'm just gonna go ahead and go new list. Contacts, add me. By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and yeah, stuff like that. YouTube, all that stuff. Contacts, add Elon, and then we're gonna go ahead and go. Oh no, there's an instance created in memory. There is an instance created in memory. Yeah, I won't be able. I'll be able to demonstrate this by going like this. There's nothing in there, and then when I do this, X. I do have to put this above though. I'm sorry. The there. Bam. That's what I was trying to get across. Okay, so we do have effectively working our constructor. So what we can do to enhance this feature though is we can go ahead and it depends on how you want your contact book to handle an extra contact book being added. Do you want it to replace it? Do you want it to add? Do you want it to? And you can actually even further incorporate these features into your program by you might actually have to have a binary tree set up where you can do it automatically if there's already no contacts in it. If there are, do you want some? It'll prompt a question, and then that answer will respond to direction on the binary tree. My point is, there's so many automated systems that you can put in this thing with reusable construction patterns that are gonna essentially make your coding and your recoding, your refactoring that much easier. So we do have our contacts being able to be created with a contacts, which is crucial for what we're about to do. With our contact book, we're going to want to be able to save and export contacts, right? All right, so let's get you know what? I'm going to go for a quick break because I've been at this for like I guess I started a little late. Only about an hour straight. Either way, I'm feeling like I'm feeling a little hungry. I'm feeling a little bit burnt out, and I'm feeling like a little ranty. So what we're gonna do after this is we're going to go ahead and export this contact data into an XML file or into JSON, whatever I really feel like doing it when I come back. If I don't see any comments, I'm just gonna probably go XML because I like XML a lot. But yeah, we'll be exporting it right soon. And then what we'll do is we'll actually get into creating the program itself, where it's going to look for the file. If it exists, then it's going to create that contact book. If it doesn't, then it's not going to create from the contact book. It's going to initialize with this, and it's going to ask us what we want to do with it, whether we want to look through it, etc. But I haven't even gotten to the interface yet because this logic is most important. I want to make sure that my data is not being lost. I want to make sure that my data is going to be able to be handled in the ways I need it to be handled. And like realistically, you can slap a face on whatever application you want. the important crap is in the background. Once that background's solidified, we know how we're going to handle the data. We know how we're going to store the data. We'll get on to moving towards something of, we'll start off with a basic console interface. I have already got a GUI interface for that, and I can explain every little bit of it. And it would give me some chance to comment and code that for any of the Patreon subscribers that wish to support me. All right, down below, you'll see a description. $5 a month is all I'm asking for. It's Canadian too, so if you're American, you're laughing at that. But yeah, that's all I'm asking for that, and that'll give you access to ample libraries of code. I did just upload something last night that I'm gonna make public. Actually, I did make it private for my Patreon subscribers, but I do want to make the core C# files, just the C#. I'm gonna make the same thing with C++ and Java. But for those files, you will need to be a subscriber to access it. For this one, the C#, I'm just going to leave absolutely public. I like C#, and I honestly feel as though C# is, like, the reason why I'm doing that one for free is because it's the Unity language, man. You want to learn Unity object construction? Stick around. I'm going to get there. Or, just ask me. Get me there faster. I'm doing this because I like working with my own constructs. And the whole idea of Unity is it's almost like a big black box that most programmers, they just kind of understand the tools of how to put stuff into it, but we really have no idea what it's doing with our data, what it's doing with our files, what it's doing with. And that's why I like the low level code personally. I like C# because I like to inspire people and it gets concepts across really well. I'm done ranting. I'm gonna click BRB, put on some music. Enjoy your time. Thank you so much for sticking around. And yeah, we'll be right back after these short messages. Hello and welcome back. That short break was much needed for myself. Stop it. Back to my soundboard, and we are resuming. Thank you so much for patiently waiting. All right, so where we left off, I wanted to here actually, let me just share this to my friend. There you go. Now you pick up the website. Okay, cool. All right, sorry about that. Yeah. Oh shoot. Oh, I am. There we go. Begging. All right. Sorry about that. So what we're gonna do to compensate for my blunder earlier is we're actually gonna go ahead, take this program, and with this info here, we're actually just gonna. I'm just gonna drop it in the main. Um, we'll keep Gavin and Elon just because I don't want to have to do it again. I'm gonna keep the instance passed over to the contacts, and then from this point, we're actually gonna run a contact manager. And the manager itself is merely a concept as well. It's similar to the I really don't care how many managers we have because a lot of the control checks that and balances that we're gonna have for the contact book is gonna be encapsulated within the contact book itself. As far as the manager goes, we just want controllers and accessors for um establishing things like adding a contact. Uh We've already done that through the contact book, though. Why aren't you just using that? Well, I could. But what I like is the idea of kicking off something from the main to a manager that's going to do it for me. And then I don't have to do it for myself 100 times. I'll just kick it to the manager to do it as many times as I program the manager to do it, or till I feel like the manager can leave that program. It'll make sense in a second. So what we're going to do is contact manager and yeah, so if you haven't gotten past the assembly reference issue that we had before, rename your contact book with a capital B for book. That will fix what it was is a build error because I named a namespace and it was more than a build error. I don't know if what direct cleaning would have fixed it after I renamed the namespace. I have no idea. But basically, so we deleted all the compilation files, um, all the and we did that by right clicking contact book, file folder, and then just basically deleted the bin and object. This is what the compiler creates, and this is the program as it runs, essentially. The executable right there. So basically, if you were to take this app and run it, the last time it was last time we ran it, CMD, and this isn't even this is my computer now. This isn't this isn't my IDE. This is actually my console, command console right here, and this is essentially where your program is going to live right now. So if I'm using my CMD and I actually go and do contact book app, it's going to read it off for me exactly as I programmed it to do. It's going to run the program. That's what you see when you're finished everything. And that's why no one really cares about your code. You care about your code because you're going to be overwriting your existing code. You're going to want to make it easy so you know where everything's happening. That's why I would rather facilitate the data entry and the controlled checks and balances that go along with pushing the data into the contact book. The contact manager is going to facilitate that. There's actually a design pattern. Let me grab my text that complements this, and I can't quite remember just exactly which it is. I'm pretty sure it's called the mediator. Yeah, let me pull up the mediator class because this is super important in terms of reusable code. With the mediator class, essentially you'd be able to mediate all data that you're putting into objects. And you can just, with slight bits of refactoring from program to program, you'll be able to use the same construction every time. So the code that you've saved on your computer, it's not useless at that point. No, you just copy paste it, change some variables around, and I'll show you exactly what I mean when we get to the sorting half of this broadcast. But right now we are doing mediator. Behavioral 273, the mediator. Oh, I remember doing this. This was annoying. Okay, so the mediator design basically. Okay, so this won't be a true mediator, I don't think. I'm just gonna close my console. Back out of that. And contact manager. Yeah, it's not gonna be a true mediator because a true mediator would have several types of objects that it's incorporating without them directly referencing one another. This itself, I mean, it'll be a rendition. Basically, the main difference between this contact manager and a true mediator is if you had several objects of like stem from contact types. um, it might, yeah. It might end up being a mediator in the end because we'll have the favorites and ignored contacts. So we'll that, like I said, this is gonna be a daily stream that's gonna progress into the building your own. I'm thinking this is gonna be a daily thing. Because what I'll do is like I keep getting. I want to do this project. I've been wanting to do my own projects and just stream them. So I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. I want to do this contact app just to facilitate what we've done for the last 3 days. But I just keep getting more and more excited the more I do this. So yeah, we're gonna keep rolling with this. This will be a daily thing until this is finished, similar to my Elden Ring run. By the way, that's continuing tonight at 8 p.m. 8 to 12 tonight, and then from Friday through Saturday, I go 8 to 2 a.m. And then I'm back coding on Monday. So on Sunday, 8 to 12, and then I'm back to coding on Monday. But yeah, tonight, Elden Ring. Today, coding. Tomorrow, coding. That night, Elden Ring. No more coding till Monday. All right, I code Monday through Friday. Cool. Oh, no way. Well, thanks, buddy. We got 2 viewers in the chat. One's me and one's my buddy. That's great. Well, I don't even care. I'm enjoying the crap out of this, and I hope you guys on YouTube will. Because yeah, it's staying there. So we're gonna go with the contact manager class. Contact manager class itself. It's gonna have contact book. And if we're going to be pulling in from XML, I'll be basically showing you how to import the files from XML anyways. So we've got a contact book. The contact manager. Yeah, because it wouldn't be. Sorry, I'm getting deeper into thought with this because I am a lower level programmer, and I'm just thinking to myself, this would be better as a reference. I wonder if I have to apply that. It's currently in preview. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So that what I showed you earlier with the other program, that was a previewed feature. That's odd. Okay. No, I've been working with references since like I started programming. I just don't understand why C# wouldn't have already included that in the library. Even Java, I think, has ways you can pass by reference. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure there is. There's always a way to pass through reference. I'm sure, and I'm sure there was one beforehand. I googled it and I found the preview feature. So we're gonna work with that. Contact book. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be adding the contacts. You know what? Let's pull up my GUI. I'm gonna put my GUI in here because this one I'm not actually gonna upload for a little while to my Patreon. But I will make sure I finish up this. I finish up notating this sortings before the end of the weekend. I should be fine to be able to do it this weekend. Yeah, this weekend's not going to be too bad. GUI. GUI. Where did I have it again? It's going to be a couple files deep. All right, here. You know what? I'm just going to... we'll be right back. I'm going to put you on some music while I do some file searching here. And thank you so much for waiting. I just needed to. This is gonna look complicated. Most people who don't understand what's happening, and I'll just quickly explain this. I can't believe I used int 16. So int 16 is just a really small integer value that I think it's considered a short. Okay, so I could consider it a short, but the difference with int 16 is that it effectively produces an integer, a signed integer. I could use uint 16. It really doesn't matter. I just know, like, technically this number here should never actually go into a negative, and it's not going to be greater than what 16 bits can handle. So that's what the technical aspects of that is, but we're just going to move on to that. This number is never actually reported as a number. I just use it to help, yeah, it just helps formatting. So the title for this isn't going to be this, it's going to be contact book. That was just part of a previous project, and this is just my GUI. This is what I mean by encapsulate everything in objects. Because I've encapsulated this GUI in a static class, I just basically take this importance in every new project I have, and I just bring this code along. All it does is it takes like all these ASCII values, all these pain in the ass calculations you have to look at charts for, to figure out what the char values are, and it spits it out in a nice, beautiful. I'll just demonstrate that. So with my program, I'll just start off. You know what? Just I feel like I gotta prove something now. No contact. Dot. Title? Big title. We're gonna go ahead and this is before it puts out any data. Oh no! Yeah, okay, that's because I fix all that. This is kind of what I need to refactor it anyways. Comment all that out. It doesn't know what that is because that's all part of another project. R3GEN. So we're gonna go ahead and minimize that. Anything else to be? No, I think that's good. We can go ahead and print it off. And essentially, yeah, that's all that does. These are just Unicode char character codes that are feed over and over again, and store them as a char value. So that way, I know for sure that they'll iterate correctly. And there's the contact book, which that's with the width and padding and a bunch of calculations I didn't want to do over and over again. I just threw it all in the class. Forget about it. Do it again. It prints that out right in the middle every time. I think maybe slightly to the right, but that's just because it looks better that way. If I did it slightly, it has to separate by 1 if it's not a direct split. It's not quite like GUI design, where you can choose the location where it's sent. It's not saying GUI design is that easy. Nothing with this stuff is easy because you're effectively changing ones and zeros. Stuff is perfect. But how we make it easier is we create these things. So next time you're creating a website on Wix, be very thankful that you're not sitting there cursing between HTML and CSS. That you're not even having to go lower than that and program the browser that's going to observe. Everything is built in its own objects as we carry on, which is why we have languages like HTML and CSS, so more creative people with less the logical back end, they'll still be able to create beautiful works of art with their absolutely specialized set of skills. So moving forward, I'm strictly I like that. I don't really, I'm up front to just tell you guys how to make backend stuff. We'll have nice creative backend object creation stuff. We got our contacts, and we're trying to, with our contact book, we're now going to be requesting contact manager we're going to be requesting that the user put in data, and that was the whole point of deploying this GUI class. So I'm actually going to put this up here because I'm going to be referring to this quite often, because essentially that's going to format how our data is going to look. So that's just going to stay on alternate monitor. Sorry about that. For a second here while I go through, make sure I request this correctly. So the GUI I did just make relatively easy. Okay, so I can just change. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this display all function I wrote. Basically just headers, draw line. It does all these little private functions that I can create. Header that way. I think with our contact manager, as long as we're only referring to the same contact book, I don't think it really matters how many contact managers we have. No, it will. It will, because yeah, basically it'll just be a bunch of contact managers accessing the same location in memory. We probably do want to create the same kind of singleton method for this. But we will facilitate construction through only the contact. The reason why because the contract manager has no purpose without a contact book, and that's the whole point of this application. So obviously we're not going to have a contact manager without a contact book. Then of course apply the same contract method. The instance assignment. And that's really the only object creation that we need with the contact manager. The way that we've wrote the program so far. Go ahead, public. Public. Ooh, sorry. Add contact. Yeah. Public void add contact. And essentially, this is the manager. This is what's actually going to take our input and convert it and assess it and store it. The whole point of the manager is data correction, data integrity management. Just making sure that everything is as it should be. So go ahead. By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out R3GEN Coding page. Like, follow, subscribe, everything wherever you are. It always really is. Oh man, I gotta start remembering to shut off those tunes. Couldn't hear a word I was saying because I don't talk loud enough for this thing to pick me up, and I'm not one of those guys that are gonna sit there with my mouth on the mic with my gain in all the way deep in the red. Because I'm using not a Shure style mic. I've noticed that with streamers when they're using a Shure style mic. It's like it just sounds like they're just having a nice conversation with you. When they're using these Yeti Blues, they often get like this, and it just sounds like they're yelling at you. Yeah, I don't like that at all. You know what? This is appropriate. If I'm wrong, then let me know. But yeah, no, this is like the appropriate amount of feedback for a mic that has this ridiculous amount of gain. Okay, moving forward. With the contact manager, it facilitates adding the contacts, error correction, all that kind of stuff. So this is actually probably where we're going to want, oh my word. Remember how I tried to enforce a static variable before? I can do that in the contact book. This ID field is going to become, oh, why do I have two of these? This ID field was, remember how I mentioned it was going to become very important later? Oops, start off at 0. Well, because this is going to be a singleton object, it can hold the data and it can count the amount of contacts it has. And actually, you know what? We'll actually call this count. Go ahead and rename a lot of this stuff because I don't know why I'm not even following my own naming conventions here. Those are my practices. I prefer to do that. Okay. Then when we add a contact, whoops. Yeah, we'll just do it like this. Contact. And then uint ID. We'll go to the contact book, change this from static int to uint because we know it's never going to be below 0. We're going to go here, and with our constructor, we're not going to worry about it there. We're actually going to go public void do we want a public? Yeah, because it doesn't really matter about the contact. It matters the order that they get put into the contact book. So hey, I appreciate the extra viewers, by the way. Thank you so much for stopping by. So we're gonna facilitate the actual organization of the the itemization of the ID within the contact book because we know that the contact book, the way that we've established this in code, being that it's static variable that only gets created if it doesn't exist, using this static get instance variable, static get instance um, function, we'll be able to facilitate the entry of this ID. So we'll go ahead, assign ID, and we're going to actually pass in a uint. It's going to unsigned int ID. And this is going to be this ID equals ID. Simple as that. And within the contact book, when we go to add the contacts, we go contact dot assign ID, pass in the count, but we're going to increment it before we do. And now with that incrementation, that's a word, added to the count, added to the contact with the count, we can add the contact, and we know for sure that ID will continue to increment. Now, how do we test that? We'll make sure that it's actually working. So we've gone ahead, we've got contacts add. This is the only time it won't be facilitated, is when we're actually porting in the contacts like that. But the good news is, when we originally run the program, the contact list is going to be empty. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like the contact list is still empty, X. And then we're going to go ahead and add these contacts into the contact book using our facilitated method, CB. So we're going ahead, add me. I just did this as those new viewers here, I just did this as a default constructor. I put in my name, fake email, and a fake phone number. Contact book over here. Yep. That's good. Then we're going to go to our program, add contact. And so before, when we tried to facilitate that ID, when we ran off the toString method within the contact, get away. Okay. It stayed the same because our static value was associated to the contact. So each time we added a new contact, the ID itself would increment, but all contacts report to that same static field. Now the static field is being generated, being assigned, and then, being incremented, assigned, and then incremented again when the next assignment happens. So now that the actual value is assigned, it's been stored in the contact, and when we actually port out the information later, it'll save into the file that we're going to save this in later. So that way when we go to generate, when we go to access the document, the application again, the application is going to go search for this document, port in all the data from the XML, and it's going to already have the ID assigned. Don't have to worry about that. And we'll just make sure that this is actually working. Contact ID 1, contact ID 2. And I'll once again verify this. Go to program, switch this around. So Elon goes in first, so he's first contact, and then put in me. As I would do personally if Elon was, going to McDonald's. I'd hold the door for him. I'd let him go before me. He can be ID number 1. I'd rather take that time to try to talk to him, to be honest. Anyways, moving forward. So these contacts are being added. Our IDs are being incremented and assigned accordingly. Now we're ready to export the data. Actually, sorry. I'm gonna go back a step. What I want to do is incorporate I want to incorporate this, but I want it automated so I can just type it in. Isn't that something that we've done before? We've already been over how to take an input with this previous document that I'm going to upload to the Patreon. And I am going to open it up for free. Right now it's not. So just keep your eye out for that. Go ahead and actually give it a bookmark, to be honest. This one I'm going to open up for free because it's a huge help for introduction. As I was going through the notes, I was thinking to myself, there's no way I can charge for this piece because it's crucial when it comes to actually developing and learning the stuff. I'm not going to charge for this. This is free. But this is what I was going to get to, our input examples. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be asking for the input right here. and we're going to be verifying right here. It's how we check to make sure that it's a number every time. We're going to be doing that in a similar fashion. We're just going to make sure with the phone number, for instance, that we have the appropriate amount of numbers assigned. And as far as the user's concerned, I only want integer values. I only want single integer inputs. And it has to be over a certain amount and under a certain amount. So when I ask for the data, I'm going to ask for it specifically one way, and I have to prompt to the user that way. And then I'm just going to reject all data that's not that. And that's essentially what this does anyways. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put this aside. Contact, add contact. GUI title. Hey, thanks so much for the reacts. Oh, actually, I think I got. Let me just double check to make sure that people I follow here, they're all supported. Like do that. Hey, Snack Pack G is on playing Fortnite, so I'm just gonna put him up on Twitch and mute. Whoops, that's unmute. All right, he's a good guy. But yeah, stick around because I'm up to 3 viewers now. I really do appreciate everyone that's showing up to learn some coding. So if there's anything specific that you're looking to learn, go ahead and pop it in the chat. But if you're just looking for generic coding concepts, I am currently doing a contact book. If you have any questions as to what I've already done, by all means, I'm here till 2. So got no issues with anything like that. It's what I'm here for. I love to inspire. It's what. All right, so stop it. We're gonna go back to actually get into the manager. Now we're actually going to be controlling the input that we're collecting from the user. We're just going to use this as a reference too, because not going to lie, I always go back and reference my own work. You've seen me do that quite a few times. So we're going to go. This is just strictly for adding contact, so we have to keep that in mind as we're programming. This is the order that we're going to program how each function call occurs. So when we call for add contact, how do we want it to engage the user? Do we want add contact to ask for these things, or do we want it strictly to collect? I would rather facilitate all these actions with an add contact and then refactor later if needed. Console write line. Okay. So, in a nutshell, this simple statement says, while not correct, it's going to continue to repeat this function. This function, this set of instructions. Oh, okay, so I gotta do this. Okay, so what I'm doing is basically I'm now asking the user. I'm gonna do it like that. 'Cause it's a string value. I'm asking the user to say, all right, can you put in the first name? And then I'm seeing if it's correct. And this is all just logic. Decide not equal to n. I'm gonna go to upper. And this is just gonna control that their input, if it's the same character but in lowercase, the computer is not gonna know because it's assigned a different ASCII code. This is just going to control that no matter what. If it's the same character, it'll be controlled to the uppercase. So if whichever it is, it's going to be, yeah. That's a escape character. Whoops, I think this is the, yeah, that's the escape character. Then I have to reassign this in the while loop as well. Otherwise, it's just going to be an infinite loop. Okay. This has already been declared. So I just want to test this now. I'm not going to do anything with it yet. So we know what happens up to this point. We're going to test the contact manager here. I facilitate the private. No, I didn't. That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm gonna. I was. I'm confident that's fine. I just. There we go. Wasn't sure if I facilitated that quite yet. I'm gonna be doing that later, but yeah, it's not important for testing. Now, when we add the contact, that's when it's gonna start asking us for information. Manager. And it's explicitly looking for first name, and it's going to ask me if it's going to be correct. So let's give that a shot. Look at that. Please enter the first name of the contact you wish to add. Should we add? We'll add Reginald. Is Reginald correct? So this is what you call a logic error. Um, and then that's going to be our exit condition. So this should actually be hitting our exit condition. And I'm going to double check why. Um, and it just asks me again. Okay. Well, decide to. Oh, it's because yeah, this logic error. I'm sorry about that. It should be and. Because it's going to be one or the other always, or it should be one or the other. And if it's not, then that's the problem. So I messed that one up. I'm going to go no. Please enter the first name again. Holy. You know what? Yeah. R3GEN Coding. Right? Right? R3GEN. Yeah, I guess it is ALD. Okay, that makes sense. Now, yeah. And then it exits because now it's correct. The exit condition for the while loop was met, and we've stored the name. We verified from the user that the name we stored was correct. And that's what this code was here for. We can simplify this further by putting a lot of this this section could go in a function. And I'm pretty sure we can shorten this up through recursion. No. No, you know what? This is probably as simple as I'm not going to challenge anything on that. This is good. This works. Like I said, once it's compiled, this is what it looks like. No one's going to give a crap what your code looks like then. But you will, because you'll know where everything is. You'll know, hey, my contact manager has an explicit job in making sure the contacts get imported correctly. My contact book has an explicit job to hold the contacts. That is correct data corrected by the contact manager. And the contact itself, it's explicit to hold the contact data. So moving on, we've stored the first name. We're basically going to repeat this. And this is what I mean. We could just facilitate the all this in a function. Yeah. We're going to do that right now. Yeah, we're going to do that right now. Copy. And this is actually going to give us an excuse to write a private function for this class. What did I just do? Okay. Copy. Private. Huh, come on, private. For this function, we're going to pass back a string. collect and verify. Sorry about that. So that's going to actually take a reference string. Reference string in this case will be just data because we do want it relatively generic. And we're going to take in string rep, what it represents. Paste that in here. $sign. Represents. I have to make it exist in the current context. That's my fault. There, first name. That there. It doesn't have to be declared twice. This is just an unnecessary doing. But doing this just ensures that I can pass through nullable string, and this just assigns it to null, even though it's gotta equal something before this can leave. Like it will have some kind of value associated to it, so it doesn't. We'll just pretend like, yeah, okay, it could go null for a bit. This I'm just gonna change name, data, enter, and that makes sense. And actually, to be honest, I'll be refactoring this into the GUI to make that look nicer too. Console read write line. So now we'll just add contact here. I'm actually just gonna go string first name equals collect and verify. You know what? I'm just gonna go lowercase because that's really all that's needed. First name. Shut up. I know that that's never going to be an issue, but the compiler's saying, oh, it could potentially come back null. And like, it's not wrong. The compiler's going to assume that anyways because it is a nullable string, but logically, it's impossible for it to come back null. unless I put in no. Yeah, even then, it's gonna be a 0 length string. Like it'll have a reference. Null, by the way, is no reference. Collect and verify. Last name. For these two last functions, string email equals collect and verify. We'll be doing some extra steps within this collect and verify. And what I'll do is I'll just pass in. I'll probably pass in extra variables and say if it's null. Yeah, we'll work on that later. But yeah, basically, I want to ensure that it is an actual email and an actual phone number we're receiving. They're going to have a different function to collect and verify that data, but for now, this is just going to spit the point out and get the program to run and work. So I'm going to say add contact, and then within the contact book, we run. In the contact manager, we have add contact, and then I get in all their information, and then I go simply, whoops. Contact book dot add contact, and then I go new contact, then done. That's done that function. So see how that collect and verify function, instead of having to copy and paste that 4 times for each data input and slightly changing them between phone and email, which by the way, we're just going to create 2 separate functions. Or you know what? Maybe we'll create another function and I'll just pass in the regex expression I want. We'll worry about that afterwards. But yeah, the collect and verify function for the first and last name, I'm just going to run that for email and phone right now, just for concrete evidence that this is working. All bang bang. Contact. All right. So, as we have within our main, GUI make title, which is why that printed off first. I'm just looking at the things that print off data, by the way, for each. And we've already added these into the contacts, and it looks like they're kind of getting added along. And then we went ahead, instantiated a contact manager, and just ran right away add contact. So with this add contact, I'm going to go enter the first name. Stuart. Is Stuart correct? No. You know what? I want it. Adam. Yeah. Adam will be saved for the first name. Please enter the last name. And basically, yeah, it's just going to continue to run through that function. So last name, Adam Bailey. Yeah. Email, Adam dot Bailey at Adam Bailey Law. Just sounds like a law office. I don't know. Carry on. So this is starting to look a little chunky. I can change that with some extra inputs. It's not a problem. Please enter the phone number. So this is just correct string value. I didn't do the data correction to make sure that it's int yet, but that's fine. Like I said, this is just an incorporation to make sure that this newly added function is going to work. Phone number. Yes. And then it prints off the current contacts that we have. And look at that, Mr. Bailey Adam. Reachable at 552, and his phone number, all the contact details presented right here. So it worked. We know that we're printing off all the contacts because it's all controlled through for each loop. So we go back to our contact manager. This is exactly how we're inputting this. We do need to change these because the input's going to be different. Return data. I'm actually going to go just for the formatting purposes. It was getting too bunched up there. So what I did was I just interjected another line after it says data will represent that. I should actually put in here too. Right here. No, shoot, not there. Right here. It'll look better. Because this is just like a little tag that points to things. Okay, so that's done. Collect and verify. And a lot of this is basically going to be repeated in the next one that we do. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and do this. Copy. And what I'm going to do is what we call function overload. It's still going to return a string value, nullable, because I just makes it easier, I guess. But we are still going to take a string value of what it represents. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to overload it. Do I want to do enums? Well, okay, so sorry, I'm just kind of running to a little bit of roadblock on how I want it. The thing is, when you understand a little bit, you start to kind of explore and you start to think of the problems that you're going to run into before you run into them. Do I want to do an enum for this? So that means I have to explain what enumerations are. Essentially, they're just digital representations in code that make things slightly easier for us to navigate through. But on the same note, it's supposed to. Yeah, you know what? We'll just quickly type in this public enum. Um. Equals. What am I gonna do? Phone. And now, time to double check syntax. I just know it's going to be something like that. C#. You'll see exactly how they're used. If you really want to think of it, it's just like a fancy way to control your numbers. The bare basic, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that was it. So basically, the first one represents the number it starts at. So I can have it start at 1. I can have it start at 10 if I really wanted to, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, right here, I'm just going to take in data, type, and we're going to run switch case off the data type. Basically, we're going to run this through a regex expression. I don't do this too often. Like I said, I code in C++. I prefer to learn more about C++. I should say I'm a coding student myself. I just got an idea of abstract concepts, and we're going to be able to code a contact app. It's not all going to be done, but it'll be. I'm betting by next week it'll all be finished. If you keep showing up daily, definitely ask questions. You'll be able to have your own coded as well. Or definitely, if you did wish to take the shortcut, that's why I offer the Patreon subscription. The Patreon subscription is literally if you just want the app to open and look at everything. Other than that, like these videos, they're all here, and they should be comprehensive enough for you to figure it out on your own. Or if you did want to stop by and ask questions, I'm okay with that too. So with these regex expressions, I'm looking through the Microsoft documentation for C#, and it's basically telling me it takes in a pattern. So it starts at, and these are just, it looks like an expression itself that represents what it can take. So you can see why I wouldn't want to do this too often. Let me just make sure I see how. Okay, so it's a new regex. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is this function, where is it? This function will create a regex. Expression, which I have to import the library. Whoops. Regular expressions. And then that's going to be the phone regex expression. And then that's going to be email regex expression. So with this expression, we have to go through how to code regex. So right here's the option for phone, right here's the option for email, and I'm just going to go ahead and just pop that there. This is not the right one. Give me my browser back. Wrong browser. I'm sorry about this. There we go. Not 0 or more white space characters. Zero or more. Ooh. I don't know about this Microsoft documentation anymore. I don't think that's the only thing that they had repeating. Oh, 0 or more versus 0 or 1. So yeah, that's a question mark right here. 0 or 1 is a question mark. 0 or more is the, okay, or more. Okay, so the regex expression doesn't need to start at the beginning of the string for it. But as long as we find a match on, this is for, Oh, phone. Yeah, right. Phone, we're only going to be taking in integer values. Sorry about that. I lied about this then, because the regex expression is only going to apply to the email assessment, not the phone assessment. The phone assessment we're going to take in as integers, and then we're going to format it ourselves. So yeah, with the email, we're just looking for at sign. Oops, should probably actually put these in the appropriate syntax. And then we're looking for one or more. Sorry, 0 or 1? And we just want to match 1. Okay. So what we're doing is to match 0 or 1, we're actually going to match. Huh. I'm not too familiar with regex expressions. I would probably just run string.contain, but that's not going to help me. I don't think. Unless I can get a count from it. But I think the regex expression probably would use less resources than all of that. Okay, so I want to match on 0 or 1. I want to match on 1. Okay. That's what that's supposed to do. So if I don't put the question mark in there, just match it. Okay. I don't know if this is gonna work either, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Basically, I'll be double checking with an actual email in the main. How do I match? I guess this would have to be from the beginning of the string. On a match on dot and zero or more one or more characters. Well, D is a decimal. F is a float. What's an integer again? I think it's uh not I. That was D. Z is just anything. Which won't help a whole lot. Okay. Find a regular expression pattern. So string pattern equals the expression. Regex escape. This seems overly complicated. Oh, okay. So we're gonna go with this regex expression. Do all rejects start with an at sign? All rejects start with an at sign. Okay. At and then this question mark. Oops. Word. One or more word characters up to a word boundary. I can't. Okay. Word. White spaces and then K-word match a captured group. That is name word. Okay. This is sorry, it's just this is like a completely useless example if I'm following it correctly, and it is. Like when I say useless example, I mean it shows it how it works, but it does it in such a complicated manner trying to show everything all at once. Yeah, because it's even showing the repeated values. Yeah, so it stores. So yeah, that's. Oh, that's annoying. I'm trying to look for basic use of regex expressions. See, this makes sense. Yeah, okay. This one makes more sense. This is from Zcode. Okay, so what this does in general is just looks for the ending .evan. The not just any single character. Any single character in the text. Okay, so forget about that. I'm just gonna do dot contains. I'll look into regular expressions later. Sorry about that. Please enter the add. Uh, I just data dot uh phone. Then where is it? Sorry about this. Data dot. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit more annoying. So I'm probably actually gonna write another private function for this. I said I was going to for each one. But it's gonna end up being is just to verify that specific data. So we're gonna go in private. This returns a bool. Number verify. And we're gonna pass in string the phone, and then we're gonna go return um yeah return int 32. Should be big enough for any phone number. Yeah. Try parse to be phone. I really just get rid of it. Okay, what? There's got to be a way to literally test the parse on here, because this is basically like, if it works, it's gonna go out somewhere. I don't want it to go out. I don't really care if it goes out, so I'm just gonna quickly pull up try parse without. Without any little overloads possible string. Is there a try format? Do you even? No. I'm just gonna. I gotta stick with try parse. Okay, so I gotta give a fake value for it. Just kind of try to convert it to int 4. I don't know. It doesn't. No, it can't be that. Int does not matter. Done. So this actually just returns a Boolean. So if phone number verify, and we're gonna pass in data. Otherwise, run email verify. We still have to write. Whoops. Just gonna go. It's not gonna be null. There's more parameters with an email, but basically I'm just speeding this up. Just to show that, hey, yeah, we would use a manager to actually control all the data flow. And then the manager is going to have all the functions necessary here to be able to perform and to verify the data and store it into the appropriate contact book. So basically, if it gets to this point, they've already verified that the input that they put in is correct. All right. And then this is our manager. Oh, this won't work. No, this will work. Yeah, because we're not even going to pass this. Never mind. I'm sorry. Forget about that. This is going to work because they're two different functions. This is a function that's overriding this collect and verify function. It's the same feature, but it basically just does this extra bit with the data type. I could technically just do this assessment like if it equals this in here, but like it's just not as quick as a binary. Just one of these. This I don't know why I'm so particular about this, but this is how I like a lot of my if statements to roll out. It's quicker in at least the low level languages I work in. The higher level languages, I don't think you notice it so much. I know Java just converts all these binary switches into all these binary operations into ifs anyways, so it doesn't really matter as much there. But I don't know so as much about C sharp. I know in C++ and C it's huge. So at this point, if it's not correct, this means that it's been rejected by our manager's algorithm. So we have to let them know. And I like to make sure that the user sees their mistake, so. So now we're going to test that. So we're still in our program, and we haven't actually made it so our manager is going to do everything yet. We're still just going to test one thing at a time within our manager. So contact manager, add contact, CM, add contact. And with this is what we're testing now. So basically, after we see this pop out on the console output, it's going to be asking us for input, and it crashed. I got to close everything for some reason. Okay, that happens occasionally. If you get that, just you'll see it. Usually something populates right away. If nothing populates and you just see this little dot stag, I don't know what happens. It's like some kind of quick miscommunication. Anyways, so these are the contacts that we currently have in here. And that was put out by this. And then testing contact manager right here, add a contact. And then it runs CMCB add contact right here is the function that's being played out here. So we're just after this point, and this console command was called. So now it's expecting input. So we're going to go Patrick. Yes, it's Patrick. Star. Yes, it's Patrick Star. Email. No, it's Patrick. Oh, sorry. I still got to format this a little bit better. Because like I am separating all of these things, and like if you are new and you haven't noticed this yet, we got our own GUI library that I'll have to refactor anyways. So I'm not too concerned about what this looks like. But yeah, so no, it's Patrick. Add Patrick. Please enter the phone number. So this is what oh, we meant to test that last one. We're going to test this next one. No. Yes. And now it's asking me for the phone number again because I didn't give it a number. Now let's try. I'm going to have to put in as brackets as a phone, like as a number. When we pass that in. Actually, I'll probably, yeah, I can control that through the manager as well. And I'll show you how in a second. But we're going to go. Now, wait, hold on. We're not going to do that one. We'll do. Oh, it was not a valid phone number. Is that because it exceeds the... No. You know what? Here. Because I think what I might do just to extend that potential buffer, because that might be actually exceeding a... we mentioned this before with the data limits last class. last session. We talked about how each integer value contains a certain amount of bits that it can use to store data, and if we exceed that buffer, it just doesn't. It breaks. So if we exceed that buffer in runtime, it'll break. If we exceed that buffer within creation, like while we're typing everything out, usually the compiler picks up on that. Number verify right here. And we'll see if that does anything different. Basically, what we did was nothing popped up. All right, we're testing again. So test that one, but it seems to be accepting proper. At least that. It's the largest possible number we can put in it, and it wasn't accepted. So I don't think we're actually exceeding that limit. Because if I pull up, yeah, because we're only storing. Oh, we are definitely exceeding. We found our culprit. Well, no. Well, yeah, because even double that's still going to be huge. Yeah, so it wouldn't matter. What we would probably need is a U long. Get a whole Microsoft Docs here on integer limits. So long max. That's not enough still. So we're going to go U long max. That's actually not a representation. Okay. So we're going to have to actually change our verification algorithm. And we're actually going to run it super small. A lot smaller. Ridiculously smaller than what it could be. And what it was. Uh yeah. You're going to let me do that. I'm just going to make sure that that's correct. Because to be honest, I'm a little bit off put by that. So we'll just do it right under the title. What am I doing? We're just testing a function here to make sure. Let's see that it does what I think it does. Go back to contact manager. It's not completely necessary. And there. Now it'll run. No, it won't run. Okay, what? What did I just recently do? I'm sorry about this. Just one moment. I'm just sorry. Yeah. We're gonna rename this. CH. Okay, so it did just basically convert it to a string. Not a problem. We can do that. Yeah. I mean, that should work. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm parsing through each character in the string to make sure it's an integer value. It'll convert into a 16-bit integer. Being that we are only using numbers ranging from 0 to 9, should never overflow. So we'll go and test it. We'll test out the email because we know the emails worked a couple times. First name, uh, Patrick. No, it's Patrick. So we do need to make sure that, that logic's working correctly. So the number verify. Nothing's running. Why? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. We're gonna try this again. Um, Patrick. Yes. Star. Yeah. Yes. No, it's Patrick. I actually should include that so that way it doesn't contain any white spaces inside. But there's also like the dot com and whatnot. I actually have to make sure there's characters after the dot. There's quite a few things that we need to do with that email verification to actually have it functioning. But the point with this whole exercise was just to emphasize, hey, this manager is doing all the verification using a couple of private functions. So I know that if it crashes, that if it's failing to verify the emails, if it's failing to verify the numbers, it's these private functions that are failing, or it's something that the private functions are returning to. And I'll be able to follow this whole chain of call stacks to be able to diagnose where the issue's happening. So yeah, we know that the email thing is running to a degree. Okay, it's capable of verifying levels. It's just not capable of verifying exactly what an email is. So we're gonna go ahead, no, it's Patrick at find my email dot. We already know it's gonna work because that's all I was checking for. And that's why we'd have to verify extensively, like further through if we were gonna actually finish this app and complete it. And we're still quite a ways away from that. So we got lots of time to do that. For testing purposes, this will suffice. We're going to keep going on the phone number. And we already know that this won't work if I do. No, it's... I'm not going to bother. No, it's Patrick. Yeah. Because I can't accept that. It's not a valid phone number. Okay, now I'll do the largest possible phone number I can think of. Make sure I don't overrun any arrays. Now we know it's verifying each character individually. So now we got to find out how. Okay, so now it can actually go through and make sure that. Yeah. Let me just actually do this again. It's working. Working perfectly. Because I have to have the international code, just in case. By the way, thank you so much for staying with me. And what we can do actually with this further is we can actually format the number right in front of them so it's more visual. It's visually more appealing to them. And now we're actually going to go through this and parse. It did not. It succeeded, 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 succeeded. Locals, our count is at 9. Sorry, our count is at 10. And then that's it. It's going to return true. It's done. We're going to continue that. And it looked like that saved Patrick Star. And right here, I just have to change how this is saving so that it does save with the appropriate digits that I've actually like physically assigned in that. But yeah, we can see how each stage, each function just progresses towards a more advanced version of the app. And like so far, we're just working out of a console. Obviously, when you finish the app, the ideal thing would be to export that from the console into an actual GUI. It's all still going to start off console based anyways, to be 100% honest. Everything kind of does, and it's best to actually troubleshoot everything through here. And this is where all your logic is going to be found. This is where all your logic is going to be formed. You can make everything pretty later. I have this GUI thing for this GUI class literally to make everything pretty while I'm testing it, or even to submit console-based applications to finalize the console-based aspect of it. It's nice. Okay, so what do we have now? We've got our number verification. So we have contacts being added. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to, what time is it? I've got an hour to do this. I can do that. I'm actually going to go for a break because I've only had one break within this 3-hour session so far. I've got another hour to go. So I'm going to go click the be right back button. And I'm going to put you guys on some music. And I'll remember to change it after I come back. Thank you so much for coming in. And if you haven't already, go ahead, drop a like, drop a follow. I appreciate it. right, thank you so much for patiently waiting. We are coming back. Thank you. And yeah, before we continue this, we are going to now export the contacts into an XML. So we've got our program, and we're able to add contact. We're able to. We haven't been able to remove the contacts yet. But that's fine. I would rather maintain the data integrity of this program right now than try to remove items. So it's fine right now. I think with lists too, you could actually go like this has to be declared in something. I'm just curious. Yeah, so like we don't even have to try too hard to remove that. It's gonna happen. That's kind of a bummer. Hold on a second. Does that mean all of our lists were useless? Oh. Well, no, it'll still do the same thing. Oh, shoot. Yeah, then it takes in an expression. Yeah, I might actually end up recoding the list that we're saving the contacts, and then we'll have the contact book will have like a substructure for that. And it's just so we can continue to have fun with our sorting algorithm. Yo, boys be hating. Thanks so much for the support. Because I know things are so lively over here, aren't they? Listen, I'm noticing there's like a massive difference between a hobby and a passion. This is my passion 100%. But catch my hobby tonight after 8. Like 100% I'm going to be on playing Elden Ring, doing my level 1 challenge still. But yeah, no, this is my passion and I love doing this, and I hope more people are get inspired with code and want to create these dynamic structures that are able to that you're able to reuse all over the place, to be honest. I'm not sure if you're actually listening, if you're actually there. But if you are, awesome. If you did want to pay attention to this stuff, cool. But yeah, this is actually already, so because we're using the list, the thing is with using these pre-generated structures to contain your data is it's just not going to be as efficient as what it would be if you programmed your own, because then with your own you're not adding extra values, extra parameters, extra anything that you don't need, extra methods. You're just providing it everything that it needs. So we will end up recoding this just so I can incorporate the sort from a different project that we started. I got that working. Everything's working beautifully on it. We have 3 different methods of sorting. And then what I want to do is actually compare the speeds with the different containers we can put them in, and then we'll compare the speeds using our pre-structured containers, and we'll be able to show a vast array of differences that you can increase the efficiency of your programming with, and where the trade-offs are. See, the thing is, we're gonna go through everything. So that way you'll know when you decide that, hey, you know what, I want to start programming something interesting. Let's take a look at Gavin's videos and we can compare, hey, you know what, maybe for maybe for a list sort, I'd actually want to sort my own list instead. And I find it faster just to use the pre-existing list. And or maybe it could be faster to construct my own list, but the trade-off there isn't going to be as great because I'm not going to have as many contacts, that kind of thing. It's this is cool stuff for anyone that actually is nerdy like me. Um, yeah. For now, I don't want to do that because I think what we're gonna actually have to do anyways is search, because when we run that remove contact, we'll still have to select that contact. So yeah, remove contact will be similar to add contact within the manager, where we're asking a bunch of questions, and then within the book. Yeah, so this will be just as simple as public void remove contact. This can just be as simple as that. It's the contact manager that actually has to like locate the contact within the list. So this is what's actually going to search. And sort's already included within the list function library. So I'm gonna I probably will do a couple things. I'll probably incorporate the sort with that, and then I'll do a sort with my own list later on. But for now, we're gonna keep going with this. I've got about an hour left in the recording. I already mentioned that before I went on break and lost a viewer. But thanks so much for stopping by, showing your support there, boys be hating. Um, got a read. I got a shout out from Chazzy. I can appreciate that. Okay. Thanks for that, Chazzy. Thanks for the shout out. So I want to, within the contact manager, export the contact. So we got an hour left. We do have an hour left. I wanted to export this into an XML, but that might be something that we do tomorrow. Because if I do it today, in all honesty, I'm gonna be sitting here going through and trying to remember, not like relearn, not learn, but basically, yeah, relearn the XML diagram, and it's gonna bleed well after an hour. I've got the 2 viewers I've got right now. I might as well just cut the stream now and pass you over to my good buddy Snackpack G. But hey, I do appreciate all the support. Seriously, like anything that I can get, like any followers, any messages, anything that helps in the algorithm, I really appreciate it. So yeah, no, thanks for everyone that's showing up on stream. If you can see the messages I'm typing in Twitch, I'm not gonna bother re-explaining that. If I'm only going to be able to raid out on Twitch. I don't know how to raid out anywhere else, to be 100% honest. So with that, everyone watching on Twitch, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit the follow button. Every follow helps. Catch us tonight, 8 p.m. Elden Ring. Here's my hobby coming in. You'll like that. It's level 1 run. I'm torturing the crap out of myself. I'm doing no cheese, but I am using talismans. I am using Ash of War. I'm just not doing summons. No cheese, no summons. And that'll be every every Thursday through Sunday. Thursday and Sundays I go to 12 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday I go to 2 a.m. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate the love, and yeah, we're raiding out. Got a couple of moments here. I'm gonna send you over to TMG1993, who's currently streaming Call of Duty. Can I get someone to play me out? We are raiding now. Enjoy the show.